chapter clicked in to College Volleyball Weekly on Viral Volley Media. Now here's your host, Rob on mic.
Not quite sure how to do this intro because we got lots of requests to do this when I was jokingly on Volley Talk saying that I could get Coach Hawks online, but he'd be interested in being a panelist on College Volleyball Weekly, but he commutes at this time in probably the worst traffic, or at least the second worst traffic in the United States, coming from Orange County all the way to LA. And if you don't know that drive, there are 4 blockages of traffic that he'll probably have to stop by. So everyone's like, well, why don't you interview, I mentioned that Hawks commutes with Milan Zarkovic every morning. So we have a unique episode this morning, and we're going to see not only Coach Hawks, unless Hawks is doubling up as an Uber driver, and that's a legend right there, Pestalacci, Tom Pestalacci of the Volley Mafia. And, and Milan Zarkovic, which Reddy got to see his debut in Phoenix, Arizona in the blue and yellow. Gotta love it. So we'll let them get set up and as they go through their morning routine. I thought, Milan, good morning, first of all.
Good morning, Robert, and good morning, everybody who will watch this. Yeah. Now you can recognize me.
Well, the Milan video in Phoenix went viral. That got over 150,000 views within the first day. So, pretty incredible. You talking to CMAC in Hawaii.
Yeah. You were talking to CMAC.
Yeah, I was talking to CMAC, and I didn't expect that you will publish that, but it's okay. I don't have to. Yeah, I was just. I was not mad. I was not sad. I'm always happy. And so, yeah, that is just my, not complaints. Okay, Robespierre is Robespierre, and his English getting better. Okay, I agree.
Well, I think talking to you, so my only experience, and I'm sure Hawks too, is the only most well-loved guy in volleyball is Coach Pavlik. Everyone's hugs, they enjoy the conversation, but you're on a worldwide level. You're kind of like the pit bull of men's volleyball. You're Mr. Worldwide. We were at the Newport Elite hanging out on the beach. I see Hawks in the corner watching the match. And then I go, where's Milan? Like, oh, the one with all the international players around him in the corner on the side court. You're trying to be undercover. So how are you so well connected,
It's
Milan?
good that I'm not Chihuahua. Yeah. Okay. I am not familiar with this delay in the talks. So, okay. Working a lot of years in volleyball, and I am like that person, and it for me is not difficult to establish the contact with the people, and and the people wants to ask something, and I want to ask, and that is how we are getting to know each other. Actually, my current boss I met decades ago on the World Championship, and John Spiro also even earlier. So I can say that wherever I go, and sometimes in the morning when we are talking, John and me, the most nice thing is that wherever I was working, I can show up again, and people will be happy and me to see them. So that is volleyball.
Well, even like when you announced that you're going to be going over to, Hawks going in for the Starbucks order? I thought you were going to
Starbucks order. I'll be right back.
Well, I might as well ask you, Milan, how's the transition been? I mean, you coach for a phenomenal staff in Hawaii with Charlie and Kapono and so many other great names and athletes, but how's been the transition going to UCLA? And essentially it's a newer staff because, Taliaferro left for the women's national team, and Nick Vogel is pursuing another coaching opportunity, and the only remnant was Coach Brown. So you're kind of like a new face that was needed.
I will go just step back. How I came, my son played for Hawaii, and he said, Dad, you will like Americans. They're thirsty for practice and they're so disciplined. And he didn't have wrong. He was all right. And that's why this is coffee. So that's why I came, and I am happy of that. And then, working with Charlie so many years, and then, I biologically volleyball came back because Capono as player, he came back to work as a colleague, as assistant, and that is the circle that was closed. And in one point when John invited me to come to, it's happened very, very fast, everything in 2 weeks, because yes, I was saying yes, even that my family stay in Hawaii yet, but that transition, it was, I can say it was easy because I don't find the difficulties here. I found a perfect boss. I found a very nice environment. And then I like Californian way of the volleyball, and everybody knows everybody. And then, and then responsibility is bigger also. Hawaii, it's kind of wonderful, nice. It's smaller, and here is different, and you're close to the target to be better, and that every other kid is better.
Yeah. Well, I think I know the story, John, but how did you come about discovering Milan was even interested in going, exploring some other opportunities?
I don't know that I knew that he was exploring opportunities. I think just, I want to surround myself with the best people. And, I knew Milan was the best. And I reached out to Charlie at AAUs in Florida. I saw Charlie. I said, "Hey, would you mind if I talked to Milan?" And he was cordial. He said, "Yeah, absolutely. Reach out." And I don't know what Charlie was really thinking behind the scenes, but I left. I got on the phone right immediately with Milan and said, "Hey, I talked to Charlie, and are you interested in possibly coming out to UCLA?" And not, I think he was thinking I was going to ask him to be part of the U21 team or staff. And and I go, "No, it's UCLA." So he immediately said, "Let's talk." And yeah, it went fairly fast with coaching the U21 team and training, going to China. Milan was overseas. So there was a lot of things that we had to, figure out how to connect with. But I talked to, I don't know, a dozen people and made sure I do my due diligence there. But Milan was somebody that I truly wanted and think he's just been a valuable member, and he's a great friend. And yeah, we're just, I'm blessed to have him by my side.
Yeah. What's really cool? Let's go back to you, Milan. But so someone new on your staff as well as Alex Knight, a former player of Hawks. But I asked him to describe Milan as just working alongside. He goes, it's like having a 65-year-old best friend. I'm like, are you supposed to reveal his age? But you have this unique ability of getting along with so many people of different generations and age levels.
You scare me because I didn't fill up Medicare. I am not yet 65. I am 55 without summers. So I'm 63. So yeah, we are very glad that we have. I will start with the lady because she was older than we in coaching stuff. Lindsey Brown, wonderful. She is young and nice, and she is putting the level on the high enough so that we can work together. Alex Knight is he is the goal for us because he was here. This is his alma mater, and whatever. I think I had that mission to teach the younger, because when you see who was assistant in the national teams and who was assistants in Hawaii, here in America, they are all head coaches now. So I'm sure that Alex will be one day head coach. And just to be clear, yesterday I cooperated with Mr. James A.J. Rutenberg, and I think that we are a good crew with Robbie Robinho. He is now Brazilian. He was American.
I thought that was me. I thought I was Robinho. Oh, Chai's taking my.
And one very valuable part of our group is the Reed Pretty, and he is the one just after Coach Kirali that we like the most in overseas, because he is the one remarkable person and remarkable advisor, and I think that he is helping too much also to our kids.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back over to Coach Hawks here on one of the hard-hitting questions, but I noticed a Starbucks order. What's the order every day between you and Milan?
Milan gets a grande medium roast, and I got a peach green tea lemonade with a chocolate chip cookie.
So you're going to have like 200 of them next match.
No, I know. Let's get a little NIL deal, right?
Well, it's been a great start to 2026 for the Bruins. I was looking at reviewing your schedule, and 7 of your 11 matches, which you're an amazing 11-0. 7 of those 11 are top 20 teams, and wanted to get your sense on the play that you're seeing so far. And we'll start with Milan, and then John, you can chime in.
Absolutely.
That is big responsibility, and that is great schedule that John already prepared that before I came, and so John and the staff. So I can say that that is something that is remarkable, playing with the team, great teams, and it's not that just men's volleyball is growing up as numbers, and quality is. It's really higher. We are coming on the new MPSF as old MPSF, and you have every weekend you had a fight, and you don't know what was going on. It was double games, for all teams that they are now separated in Big West and in MPSF, and also then you can have in the final stages you can have East Coast, and they are ready to fight, they are ready to compete. I can say that we are on the good way. We have a good group of the guys. In every American college team, there are good group of the guys. We have just that luckiness that these guys, they want to do the best, maybe and national team play. This institution, they are very likable that they will participate in the next stages of the international careers. And so from that standpoint, I think that we are on the good path, and that is good schedule. We will just continue. That is nothing that we achieve yet. It is just starting of the season.
Yeah. All right, John, what you think?
Well, I think just, I'll go in a little more detail. I think the teams we've seen, and Ball State really impressed me out in Phoenix. But, I thought they were really, really solid team. And playing McKendree, I'm glad we got McKendree in our first match, because, they're just a scary team all around. And then you think about, the win at Long Beach, and that was just an incredible win in itself, and coming back from the volleyball out there right now. And I'm watching USC, and I'm watching Irvine, and I'm watching Hawaii, and I'm watching all these other teams. There's some good volleyball players out there. So, credit to all the coaches out there that are training these guys up. So, looking forward to what's next. And for what next for us is Long Beach this Friday, and another really good team that's got a shot to win it this year. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Interesting factoid that was dropped on the broadcast, which I overlooked, was Hawks, you coached Nick at Long Beach State. Is that true?
Yeah, I coached Nick. I recruited McKay Smith to Long Beach. Yeah, just I guess I'm getting old because I coached Winder, I coached Niffen his senior year, I coached uh, Kevin Birch was my assistant coach in club a long time ago. I mean, just yeah, I'm getting old.
Well, you actually bring up a very interesting topic because, I just feel like the relationships in the coaching staffs and men's volleyball is different than the women's or even beach. There's so many tight-knit relationships. There's so many, we'll say, connections within that. And Milan, you obviously have it for all the years you've been coaching, but yours is like international. And, how would you describe I guess the atmosphere of the relationships in men's volleyball between the coaching staffs?
Uh, I can say that coaches in America really respect each other, and there is a big respect and big appreciations. And I was mentioning this several years ago, watching in the national teams. You have one group that is doing for the one Olympic Games, and then you have assistants that they are continuing that on the other Olympic Games, and then okay, you have a couple of Olympic Games, you have John Spiro, and now again we will have the new. So you can see continuity in the representing America, continuity in philosophy and respect to each other, and the philosophy of education of preparing the guys to play professionally, internationally, if that was your question that you're asking. And that is something that is unique. I am not saying that in another part of the world that coaches are against each other, but this tolerance, what I face in America, that is something that we should develop, that we should be, bigger persons, that and that we will continue to do that, and that is some valuable.
Yeah.
I think to add on to that, Rob, I think the relationships that all of us have. We go out recruiting. We're in Florida. We're in some of these big cities, and a bunch of us are getting out and having beers together, and it's the D3, D2s, D1s, junior college coaches, club directors. We're all like hanging out and collaborating, and I think it's our duty as coaches to give back to the younger guys. And I think Milan touched on that earlier with Alex, that our job is to help mentor those young guys or the more inexperienced guys, right? And just, hey, this is how it's done. And I think on the men's volleyball side, we don't have that animosity for each other. We don't have that. We're not threatened by each other. I think there's healthy competition, and that's what we all want. And yeah, we're recruiting a lot of times the same guys, but at the end of the day, we want to see those guys find the right college for themselves and the right university. And we oftentimes say it's not a 4-year decision they're making a lifetime decision. So we want the best for them.
Yeah.
So our relationship with these guys is respect all these guys. So, I hope that continues.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. One of the the eye-opening events for me is an event in Fort Lauderdale like 3 or 4 years ago. And I saw all the head coaches of D1, 2 programs hanging. I'm like, you really want these guys to see your notes? But all you guys are just chattering because you guys knew you were checking out. But it's just such an interesting dynamic seeing. It must have been probably 18 to 20 coaches all just kind of hanging in the corners together. And like, what are you guys doing here? Oh, we're recruiting. Like, you're going to let so-and-so see your notes and who you're checking out. So such a cool dynamic.
There's no secrets. Yeah, there's no secrets anymore.
Well, let's go back to this season again, because one of the figures that really caught my eye was up until the Long Beach match, the Bruins have only dropped 1 set. And even to now, you're at 11-0. You only dropped 3 sets. Do you feel like the team is tuned up and ready for the tough competition of well, I mean, you've had tough competition anyways, but MPSF is 3 matches away. So you guys are looking really good. Can you talk about where you feel your team is at? And whoever wants to jump in.
Yeah, I'll let Milan start if you want.
Yeah, sure.
This is what, by the way, this is what I do in practice gym all the time too. Milan, you got it. And he goes, got this, let's go. Like that. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm so happy about that. So that is what is counting in some point, but the main thing is what will count in May. So this is, and you know, Rob, that I am doing those mosaics. So now is just one small cube in the mosaic that we are preparing together. And I think that we find good pieces, and those pieces, need some sharpening, cutting. And I think that will be our task until the end of the season, having in mind that every opportunity that we have to show that we are good, I think we are on that way, and that is how we treat every game. Losing sets, winning sets, yeah, I think that is not significant for us in this moment, and is not priority, of course.
Yeah,
I think
enjoy that
we talk
analogy.
about. Yeah, I think we talk about undefeated is not our goal at all. It never has been. So just kind of winning today and winning the drill and winning this moment, winning this touch, that's the most important thing for us. So, if we are where we are because we have, a great staff with Milan, Lindsay, AJ, Alex, Rob, everybody. So, but we also, have great internal leadership and Andrew Rowan, Zach Rama, guys are part of our league group. They're leading at a really high level within the team, and it was something we had last year. So those guys had to develop that, and whether that their experience with USA Volleyball or just their talks in the apartments about, hey, this is what we want for our team, and I just couldn't be more happy with how they're leading from within. And then you got guys like David Decker and Chris Hirsch and Michael Wangiello and Chris Conley who haven't had any experience on the court. So they're growing every single set that they get to play. And they haven't been perfect, and I don't expect them to be. I don't think we expect them to be. We just want them to come in focused on that next touch and a great teammate and playing with great energy and focus. We're still kind of unthink. So I'm excited to see where we're gonna go.
Yeah, it's amazing because even early on in Phoenix, you're tweaking a little bit of the lineup, but you bring up an interesting point about your leadership. You also have 3, and in my opinion, potentially 4 Player of the Year candidates on your team between Andrew Rowan, Zach Rama, I think Sean Kelly, and you can't overlook Cam Thorne. I'm like, my goodness, that's definitely a first team All-America right there alone. These guys obviously are playing as a team, but you can't help but look at that individual accomplishment of maybe getting that Player of the Year. But how do you manage that? And, with the years of experience between the both of you, how do you keep them on an even keel through the season? Good, I stumped you.
Well, you want to do that one?
Yeah. It is. We will come back, on mathematics, and now we use mathematics and we use arts. So for the arts, this is the mosaic. So that we cut the cans. But just going back.
Just for our listeners, that's the Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus mosaic that you just put in front of the screen.
I thought he was showing you St. John. That's a good one.
St. John is here next to me.
St. John. So he's driving the Uber.
So we try with them that they're every single day that they try to be better than they were yesterday. They most of the time succeed, but I will tell you that they're trying to do the best because we are collective sports, and we will be good. They will be good individually as we are as a team have results, because we had international players that they are coming and playing, and in the end they are taking awards, but the teams are not NCAA champions,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think that that is the main thing, that the team will succeed in the MPSF, succeed in every game, in every practice, every game, league, and then the NCAA tournament, with God help.
Okay. I'm going to let someone in here because obviously we have our CVW actual episode. This is a special bonus episode, but you'll see who comes on the screen. I'm sure they'll be happy to see you guys because I didn't let them know that I was doing this. I gave everyone the same link. So we welcome on. Wait, I think you see the name anyways, right? I believe. Oh, and there he is.
See.
What's up?
Oh, there we go.
Ah,
Oh,
Brad
look at this.
Strader of UC San Diego.
Look who we got. How's the drive? I feel like
how's it going?
I feel like this is cheating, having you guys do this on a holiday. There's not nearly as much traffic as we'd like to see. We want to see Hawks with some road rage.
No, Milan gives them road joy.
We actually spend it's usually about an hour and 20, hour and 30, but I mean we're laughing the entire time. So there's no rage here, buddy. It's all good.
Comedy Store in LA is actually your car with Milan in it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So we got a big match coming up this Friday, which is why I wanted to have you guys on this particular week. And, it's against Long Beach State. You had the coveted battle, and we got another one coming in. So I'm going to keep talking. You won 3-2 the first time in Long Beach in a huge, I believe was a sellout, about 5K. I mean, it's nothing like the Hawaii crowds, but we like seeing that in Southern California. But this Friday, as Jay Hosick pops on in to see our special guest on screen, he's like, what is going on here?
What's up, Jay?
What's up, boys? How are you?
So talk about that
Good
matchup this weekend
And you
on
guys,
Friday night, your lone match of the week.
are we talking already about, are we already recording?
We're already recording, Jay. I was going to surprise you guys with the special guests so they can pop off whenever they get to UCLA.
Let's go.
No, so talking about the matchup, I mean, anytime you can get Long Beach State in your gym, it's a great thing. So we expect them to play better, and I think, I mean, it wasn't a clean match from both teams at all. We were both hitting below our typical season numbers, and I think causing a lot of stress for the other team. So I'm expecting a bit cleaner match, and I'm happy that we're going to be in Poly. So I don't want to give away anything, but we're going to probably do a couple different things than we did the other night, and and hopefully try to contain those pins. I mean, they're 3 nasty pins, and they're good in the middle, and we got to keep the ball off of Kellen. So I'm excited to see kind of what this weekend looks forward to. So
so it is new stuff, and they are thirsty for success, of course. And Alan, I did father of the Long Beach State Volleyball University. So I can say that they are on the good path to continue that good tradition. And of course, it's big challenge. They have good team. Everything is open. We are playing in our gym. Of course, we will show the teeth. We will not just only with smiling, not literally, but I think that we will be a little more arrogant in our gym and play a little. I can say more consistent and more harder, having in mind that we were in the first 2 sets in Long Beach in Pyramid. It was remarkable for Long Beach men's volleyball, because in one point I was thinking that we are professional teams playing against each other. In first 2 sets we were not so professional, but Long Beach was really good. We were much better in the end.
Well, I got to welcome Theo Edwards of CSUN on board here if you can't see the full screen of the gallery, but kind of a surprise for all the coaching panel. I'd have you guys on, but feel free to ask questions, guys, while they got them. I thought they'd have more traffic. So
Well, that was going to be my statement. I know that they are not in California because I'm watching their car speeding down the highway and there's no traffic going on. So I think it's a misnomer that they're on their way to the office. They're probably going out to Vegas right now. But I think
there's two things. There's no traffic and it's raining. So how about that?
No, there's no rain in Southern California. Where's your beanies? Where's your Ugg boots? Come on now. But in all seriousness,
I got a question for Theo, and
Yes,
he knows
sir.
the question. How is my recruit?
He's doing great, Milan. He's doing great.
It's about his son.
Full day of basketball yesterday.
Dan Brand of Lewis also now on if you guys can't see the gallery. So just want to give you a heads up.
Hey, guys.
So hit them up with questions while we got them.
Well, my question out of the gate is obviously, Milan, I think you're right. I think the first two sets, it didn't look like you guys were playing your cleanest volleyball, which listen, it happens once in a while. It's not a shocker. Even the best teams don't have necessarily the best start or maybe the best match. But I'm interested to hear what your discussions were at the end of the second set when you guys were going to that third. What did you guys talk about with your team that either lit a spark plug or maybe continued the path and trajectory that they were going or gave them some kind of a different look, if you will? What were you guys talking about with your team and what were you talking about amongst your staff?
I will remind you about one fact, and that is, without being arrogant, and just to facts are that now in this car are two coaches that with medals from the World Championship in this group of age. So, and that is not so easy to find. So I can tell you that our main thing is, so many years experience, and then we knew that what they are doing on daily basis. And on daily basis, they're really good. And so we try to keep that and trust in themselves so that will come. And that came, and, we didn't want to tell them, and we are not saying, you have to trust us, because that is what you not order to the players. They either trust or you are trying to get their trust. I think that that was working and that will work. And John can say also he is part of that. But as with Pistolesi, always I'm saying we are on the same page.
Jay, I think just specifically, it was somebody's got to make a play, and balls are flying off the hands and hit the floor. And I think for us, it was just somebody had to make a play, and then let's try to stack one good play on top of the other. And that was one thing I think we were all saying. But internally, Andrew Rowan's looking at the guys, and he was calm, and he's like, "Hey, we're right there. It's just believe in each other, trusting each other." So it was really just it was calm, it was confident, and I think we just knew that if we made a couple plays, we could get ourselves back in that match, and it happened.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys. Obviously you guys have been around this game for a long time, right? Coached a lot of athletes and over the years, and a setter like Andrew is pretty special. What's it been like being in the gym with that guy?
It is demandable. John has more experience with him. It's demandable, and you have to be, clear information, very clear arguments. He is, of course, as a setter on that rank, is stubborn. He has his own opinion, but in our conversation, we have to get on the track. And to explain what's going on. I will give you this is not the lecturing, but I will give one example. He was in position 6. Going with the diagonal front. The ball was hitting the net, and and then he was watching the outside hitters when they will give the ball, but it was on the top of the net, and ball fell down, and it was point for opposite team. That was when we play, maybe Theo, when we played you in USC. That is the one, because we had that discussion, and he said, no, it is outside hitters. Okay, I didn't continue, but then it's happened 2 times, and it's front of him, and he was laughing, and he understood that we have to change that kind of approach, so that those who are the closest to the ball, that they have to react. That we are not, they are not the kids of the one father who gave them the land, and now they have to divide the land. The land is everybody. The volleyball court belongs to everyone. So that is my view of the Rowan. John will also have his point.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to recruiting Andrew. It was during COVID, and I spent a lot of time talking to him. I just got to know him, and he's a wonderful kid. But as Milan just talked about, Andrew's stubborn, and I think that's why he's good. You look at some of the really great ones, and you can say that about Micah Christensen. You can say that about others, and Andrew's stubborn, and he'll fight for what he believes in. I think that's why he's really, really good. I love coaching him, and I think he's become the part of the game that's really evolved is his leadership, and that's something he didn't have last year. So I'm proud of him. I tell him that all the time, and he's taken a lot of pride in himself. So yeah, I think big things are ahead for Andrew.
Hey, John, This is Dan. First off, Milan and John, congrats on the year so far. You guys got a great group. My question kind of stems a little bit, and feel free to share what you can, but I mean, you had a great group last year, John, and I mean, I watched your matches in the NCAA championship. What were a couple of things for you as you went into this year where it's like, I want to make sure this group honed in on them, besides hiring Milan, which is fantastic, but what are a couple of things where you're like, hey, this is really something we want to hone in on this group that'll help us take the next step?
Yeah, I think a big part was being the staff, to be honest with you. And Milan is in a similar situation as I was in last year, where, his family's in Hawaii still. So I was without my family the whole year. I felt like there were just so many things that didn't, I didn't feel like myself last year at all. And I think I've been pretty open with a lot of people that, I think internally I've got to have, my ship tight, and I don't think I was super tight. And I felt last year was tough, trying to win 3 titles in a row and follow John Spraw and the expectations and leaving a program at Loyola. I cared about those guys, and then joining a group that I had relationships with, but I had to build those relationships again. And so I'm going to start with that. But then I think this year it was just like, you know what, we're going to go all in on defense and passing the ball and doing some things and playing volleyball with your heart. And I think sometimes at UCLA in past years, I've been a part of groups that have been really talented with Mitch Stalls and Jake Arnitz, and I could go and name some players, but we haven't played with a ton of heart that oh boy, pardon me, hold on. There we go. So we haven't played with that passion and heart that I think is what I think defines teams that play for me. So I think Jay or Dan, to answer your question, I think it's, for me, is like playing a style of volleyball that represents me. And that's something I wanted to get across to the guys. And certainly hiring Milan was a big part of that.
Thanks.
Great
Hawks,
questions.
I got last question, at least, or the only question for me, really. We've been going Decker, and then Bradford's been getting in there. You've been getting some experience for him. You obviously won't be telling us who's starting this week, but as you're kind of progressing, even looking back into that Long Beach match, set 3, it looked like he threw Bradford in, and honestly, it looked like Rowan was he set him 3 or 4 balls in a row and was like, all right, we're going to see if he can get it done or not. And Long Beach made some good plays on defense. He didn't get, I don't remember him getting a kill. He might have gotten 1 or 2. But what's been the process working through that and kind of sorting through that right side throughout the early part of the year?
Yeah, Decker's just got an unreal arm, and he's been a part of the program for a few years. So Decker's going to be the guy that we rely on right now, and Grayson is there as a way to come in and improve us. He wasn't able to do that the other night, and that's not a knock on Grayson. It's Sean Kelly had the exact same scenario happen to him a year prior, where I subbed him in row 1 against Money Nikolau's serve just to get a 4th passer. And, sure enough, we're out of system, setting the ball from beyond the end line, which I'm sure all of us are familiar with when Money was serving. But Sean got 2 high balls that were coming out of the rafters, hit 1, put 1 in the bottom of the net. And, the thing that I just hate about our volleyball community is this volley talk that people destroyed him on that and told that Sean Kelly is the worst volleyball player and what happened to him and all this other stuff. And I mean, what a shame, like, that people tear kids down like that. And, Grayson went through the same thing this last match with Long Beach, that he didn't perform at his level, and that's okay. We had a nice talk, and we had to play a match the next day. So I talked to him in the hotel, and he was fine. Grayson's an incredible person and a hard worker, and he's going to be a great volleyball player. He just has to go through this growth process and learning and really learn from David Decker. And I think that's where we are right now with him. And, but Grayson's going to come in and win us a couple sets this year. I have no doubt.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I wanted to definitely get this in there because we go into our regular episode, give you a chance to, download a little bit before you pull into the office. But you guys are hosting Long Beach State this Friday at Poly Pavilion, 7 p.m. on Big Ten. Is it getting upgraded to another platform? Do you know?
I haven't heard that it's being picked up by Leonard or Big Ten, but I know it's Big Ten Plus. And tune in. It's going to be a good one.
And then, of course, the 2026 National Collegiate Men's Volleyball Championship hosted also at Poly Pavilion. I believe the tickets went on sale within the last 2 weeks. So, definitely get online, go to UCLA Men's Volleyball's website. They'll have a link to get tickets. It's going to be huge. It's always huge at UCLA, and your administration does a phenomenal job of hosting. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys hopefully this Friday and, catching the Bruins play against Long Beach State, but also when you come to Irvine in 2 weekends. So looking forward to catching there. So John Hawks. And,
and hold on, Rob, speaking of that, about your match at Irvine, I was sharing some text with Paula Smith, and our match will not be streamed, which is just tragic. Paula made a decision to departmentally to not televise or not stream any non-conference matches. And I know some alums have stepped up to offer up their funds to pay for it, and she still dug her feet in. I'm surprised by that because, USC and Irvine playing each other in 2 top 5 teams. Like, Jesus, we've got to have these matches on TV. So we're going to try to stream it for people. So I've talked to AJ. We're going to try to do that. We need a Wi-Fi. So hopefully, Rob, you can help us out with that. But, I think just all of our administrations, we have to be better and get these matches on. And that's what's going to draw eyes to all our programs. And I just had to throw that out there, Rob. I'm not trying to bash Paula or anything. I think they made a decision, but we got to be better, all of us.
Yeah. Well, appreciate your guys' time this morning. It's again Milan Zarkovic and John Hawks of UCLA. Looking forward to hopefully catching you this Friday in person. And then we go on to our normal CVW episode. We've got a bonus President's Day episode with Milan Zarkovic and John Hawks on their commute, which we thought was going to be bad. I didn't plan for it, but rain and President's Day holiday means they're going to get to UCLA like in 30 minutes. So, and I'm pretty sure you're almost there from the looks of the background.
Nice to see you guys.
All right.
Safe
Hey, good luck,
travels,
guys.
fellas.
We'll see you soon.
Hey, boys.
All right.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
See ya.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to College Volleyball Weekly, Men's Top 20, episode 295. And we've got the entire panel back again. And thanks for hanging tight with us with all these different responsibilities from week to week. But we've got Brad Rothschatter of UC San Diego, Jay Hosick of George Mason, Theo Edwards of CSUN, and Dan Friend of Lewis for year. I think it's like 6 or 7 for all of us. So hopefully I'm over the flu bug. Hopefully no technical issues. So I know that last episode was a mess editing wise, but you know, I'm human. I'm not an AI generated host or anything. So I do get sick and life happens. So with that, I want to go directly into our social media shout outs. I want to shout out salsflix.co or Sally Dang. She's in the Midwest and MIVA. She gets a lot of great content out there pumping all the teams around Dan in the Chicagoland area and then some. So, and she's also covering USA men's and women's national teams when they're near her, or she's even flying out on her own dime to cover these events. So shout out to Sally. And then Vanessa Bonilla, who is mainly a Long Beach State local, but I've been catching her at a lot of USA men's events and also doing any collegiate event she can get to. So they got great content on their pages at salsflix.co and Bonilla, Boniiia on Instagram. So with that, transition to Elephant in the Room after our bonus episode with the UCLA, part of the UCLA coaching staff. Elephant in the Room, let's start with, since Brad was the first one to see the surprise of John Hawks and Milan Zarkovic, why don't you tell us about your week, Brad?
Yeah, last week, I feel like we're in like a little 2-week stretch here where it's kind of blurring together. We have a match at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So in about 3-4 hours, we host UC Merced for an early match. Then they're driving back up to Merced following the match. But yeah, last week we played Concordia, and we've already, John Girton, the head coach at Concordia, we've already locked it in for next year. We're going to keep our no love lost rivalry going on and playing the week of Valentine's Day. But it was great. They came down to us on Wednesday, and then we went up to them on Thursday. When we hosted them, we played pretty clean and pretty smooth. And at least offensively was probably the best and most fluid we've looked all year long, which has been great to see and was really good. But we also knew after playing so well and them competing and not being too happy with the result, we knew we'd be in for a battle and a response the next night up at Concordia CUI Arena. And then getting there, it was a battle. And I think we were down in every single set, at least midway through each and every set, if not into the 20s. And we were able to scratch and claw and find our ways back. And both teams didn't play great in that second match with a lot of hitting errors, especially. But we were just lucky enough to kind of make some good plays on defense, win some long rallies, make some out of system swings that led to us sneaking out in a game where we very easily could have been swept and lost 3-0. We ended up sweeping them and winning in deuce games each and every set.
All right. Any comments on Brad's week against CUI?
I think Seb Sani finally found his gear and had a good night. 17 kills at 364 against CUI. That's a good match for the kid. I know, everybody put a lot of hype on him coming down to San Diego and being the guy. And it's not been a stellar year, but it's been a good year. And he's starting to find his rhythm. And I think Seba is going to do some nice things for them. So kudos to San Diego and figuring it out. And that CUI match, Gurdon's doing a nice job up there. He's going to build that program to be really, really strong. And so just super, super excited. They're going to keep that series going.
My
All
my
right.
other piece would be seeing. I think John Lewis set both matches for you, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah, and certainly he's a talented setter, and I think it's probably playing in them finding some flow. Do you know what I mean in terms of those two matches, which was great to see. So
Which John Lures had one of the top performing Valentine's posts with NCAA college athletes. I'm going to lure you with my smile. And he wasn't smiling in the post. Check it out on Instagram. Anything else on Brad's Titans of UC San Diego? If not, we shall move on to Jay Hosick of George Mason. What was your week like, Jay?
Well, my week, we went down to Charleston. It's my least favorite trip only because Charleston, in order to get there from here, it's a lot of windy roads and not a lot of major highways. And sure enough, that proved true again, as always. But, we go down to Charleston. We watched them a little bit. They got 25 guys on their roster, 17 of which are foreign players. I mean, let that sink in for a second. When we talk about programs that thrive on international students, Charleston is one of them. Rob Poole does a nice job bringing those kids into that school, and he's got a lot of really good players. This is a good Charleston program. Don't sleep on them. They could be a little bit of a headache for people down the road. And so we went in and honestly just did not play our best match at all on Friday. We looked disinterested. We looked unenergized. And Charleston took it to us. They handled us in literally every facet of the game, and that's how they should do it. And my guys were not happy with that. I know the staff. We talked about it with them, and just kind of threw it to them and said, look, as much as we can do, this really kind of falls on you guys as to how you want to, you want the season to go for you, and challenge them to find, the level that we do in practice every week. My team is really young. We've got, at any moment, we've got 4 sophomores, a couple of redshirt freshmen. Like it's a young team. And so by no means am I saying, we should be in the top 10 and we deserve to, be in the conversation for a national championship, but it's a young group that has some firepower. And they went out the next day and they handled it. And beat them in 3 and felt good about our performance. Rob Evangelista had a good night, hit over 400. Jack Lopez, redshirt freshman, hit 467 the next night. Those are good numbers for young guys that, we feel like if we can find that energy, that will to want to compete at a high level every match, every play, if we could find that consistently, we're going to be pretty good. And if not this year, then definitely in years moving forward. But I love the response that my guys had, and we're just looking forward to getting after it again this week and going up and seeing NJIT.
Yeah. Well, Jay, you had Alexander Lilly, 7 kills, 0 errors, hitting 1,000 on night 2. Pretty impressive numbers there.
Yeah. And he's a sophomore too. So we're just trying to figure it out. Every coach in this panel has had years where you're older and mature, and you're the guys kind of know what it feels like and looks like, and they go out, they can execute. And then there's years that you're younger and they've got to learn how to win. You got to learn how to win. You don't just get to win because you put the jersey on correctly. So, and that's what my guys are doing right now. They know they have some potential. And they're just trying to find a way to tap into that every single day and every single match and every single play. So I'm proud of the win. I'm proud of the response that my guys had. It's good.
All right, panel. Anything on the George Mason Patriots?
One of the things I really liked about what Jay was talking about, and I think John Hawks was mentioning this at UCLA and talking about Grayson, and we were talking about it with Brad and talking about Sonny. But essentially, there's no skipping the process, and especially when it comes to the growth side of things and learning and gaining experience. And there's 2 things. Like, one is age, right, which is just strictly where you're at in your experience in college and how long you've been doing the grind of what it is to be a student athlete. And then there's experience, right? Like sometimes you have a 3rd-year guy, but it's his 1st year on the floor, right? He's been behind guys, and that's a learning experience in itself. Even though you're not a freshman, there's still some things that you've got to learn through experience. And obviously what was really cool to see about Jay's group, right? You get swept the first night. get your feet underneath you, and then to see his guys respond, especially after him challenging them and saying, "Hey, fellas, this is on you. Let's figure out how to turn this thing around," was pretty cool. And Evangelista and Lopez and Lily, all three of those guys over 500. I mean, those are some big performances, and a little bit of a, "Hey, coach, we got you, man. Don't worry about it." So I'll love to see that.
Yeah, I think on that piece, like with Evangelista, I know last year he was kind of in and out of the lineup, got some time, and now this year, especially with the unfortunate injury of Liam French, he's had to step up, right? So you kind of saw that acclimation period, and now hopefully what happened night 2 against Charleston and the performance there is more of what to come from Robert as he's evolving in that role.
Yeah. Yeah. And you look at our setter, who's a 4th-year senior, but this is his first year really running the show. And so he's learning, and he's got good hands, and he's learning how to make the right decisions at the right time. And, we got just a bunch of young kids just trying to find it. And I just, I appreciate the kudos for the kids. It's all about the kids, and it is about the process. And sometimes we get lost in that shuffle and wonder why we can't do the things that we do in practice every day. But, when the bright lights are on, it's completely different.
Yeah. Anything else? If not, we're going to go to Dan Friend of Lewis, and he talks about his Flyers week. Anyone? Well, let's go to Dan.
We lost to Loyola. We beat Rockhurst. All right, I could give you a little more. I guess. Sosa was pretty good against us at Loyola. He had a nice match against us. He's a tough guy to slow down, and continues to get better in their system, and certainly balances them out a little bit. And so, and I think with us, we're still trying to figure out a few things. We had a nice response against Rockhurst with how we played. Rockhurst has got a talented group. Corey's doing a good job, 2nd-year program, and really has some nice pieces in his group. And I thought we played steady. Kind of got into that where we were up 2-0 again, and what was going to happen in game 3. And we've been there a couple times right now, and so it's good and by the guys to find a way to finish finally in game 3, because that happened in San Diego, it happened in Pepperdine for us. And so I think, as well as we talk about, we're trying to figure out our pieces and what looks good. And it's a long year. I keep telling the guys that, and we got to go down to Queens, and Queens just had a great win against Ohio State, and they got a talented group, and Rogers got them playing well. And so, but yeah, I think it was nice this week. We get 2 or 3 practices where we get to actually train and work on some things, which those are hard to come by during the season sometimes, where you feel like you get a couple days and work on some stuff. So,
All right, panel, have at it. Lewis matches against Rockhurst and Loyola.
In my best Dan Friend tone, bummer you lost to Loyola. Congrats on the win at Rockhurst.
I just got Sean Baggs is blocking really, really well for the Flyers. So someone to be on the lookout for. And as middles, especially, he's not a super offensive as a middle. So in terms of
good to get him back in the line.
Really good blocker.
It was good to get him back in the lineup. It was first time back on Friday, and then I think he was even more comfortable or Thursday, more comfortable on Friday, which was good. Thanks.
Yeah, I think this game often comes down to serve and pass, and there are sometimes unexplainable nights where some of those things are off, right? Like, especially depending on the scenarios, and I think these guys are not robots as much as we'd like to say. And looked like Loyola was a little bit cleaner in some of those phases of the game, especially the passing side of things. But I got confidence in Lewis, man. They'll bounce back, and the MIVA is an absolute mayhem fest. It's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, Theo,
we put OG in the back until like the last month, and maybe we'll bring him back out. You know what I mean? So like,
well, let's go over to who's that? Oh, just Theo. Let's talk about
it's me.
Well, I just want to mention that your last 3 matches have been against top 6 teams. So, although the last the record has been so great, you definitely build your guys up come conference play.
Yeah, no, and it's actually been awesome. The last 2 weeks played obviously three really tough teams, SC Pep and then UCLA. And obviously UCLA was this Friday for us and only match of the week, so we got a pretty good amount of time to prep for them. And I thought there were some things that, as a group, talking through this with at least hearing what Jay is talking about, we're in a similar boat. We've got essentially three guys, their first time on the floor, first time in their positions, a couple of sophomores and a couple of third-year guys. And so at moments we look like we know exactly what we're doing, and it's pretty impressive. And then at moments we're learning some things and learning it the hard way. But I thought there were a couple of stretches there where we were pretty elite, and kind of, I don't want to say held our own, but at times we paced UCLA in certain phases of the game and had a pretty nice lead in the third set, and just really haven't been able to do it for an extended period of time. And that's really kind of been the tale of our team this season. But I thought all three of those matches really prepared us in a major way. I think Jalen Phillips, this was his first week being able to practice the full week, and he hit 400 on the night and had a hell of a match, and was nice to see him kind of looking like himself. And we were able to hold Zach Rama to 077, which I think is probably his worst hitting performance on the year. So as far as the scout and kind of some effective stuff that we were doing at the net, I thought the team did a really, really nice job. Just didn't serve tough enough in a couple of the sets, and couldn't sustain some of the passing stuff that we needed to do for the long haul. But I was proud of the guys, and I think it kind of is building us in the right direction of where we're hoping to be by the end of this year.
All right, panel, have at it, the Matadors.
Yeah, I'll start here. Two things for me. One, holding Zach Rahman at 077 is a victory in its own right. In a lot of teams that are not in the top 15, if you will, have that one guy that they rely upon to be able to get their kills and score points for them. And if you could slow that guy down and force the rest of the team to be able to pick up the slack, you can pick up a lot of victories that way, because it's easier, if you will, to focus on one guy and slow him down a little bit. But when you got a team with the firepower like UCLA, where across the board they got guys that can bring it, it's tough to be able to contain them all. And that's why they're good teams. And there's no slam against that. So that's my first point. The second thing is, Thea touched upon it. My team has similar results this year with Ohio State and Ball State, where we're competing with them either in small sections of match or in a complete set or whatever the case is. And you look at it and go, okay, that's the level that we can play at for a period of time. And the challenge obviously is the better teams can sustain it for longer periods of time. Our match against Ball State, we had 5 set points in the first set, and then we go into the second set and we're with them, until 13 all. And then they go on a little bit of a run, a 5-point run. And then we pick it back up and trade barbs for the rest of the way. And we only lose by 5 points. And so you look to those moments as a coach, and when you're having video sessions or when you're talking to your guys, you're saying, look, it's not about that we can't repeat those things. It's, can we repeat them for long periods of time? And every team's going to make mistakes. Every player is going to make an error. Everyone's going to have a moment here and there. You're like, whoa, that's not very good volleyball. But how do you respond? And is it at the next point, or is it 3 points later? And then how do you pick it back up and go back to the rinse, lather, repeat, where you're just playing the side out game and you're picking up a real point every 3, 4, 5 points if you can. But it's just this constant battle back and forth. And the better teams are just able to do it for longer strings of time. I don't want to say mediocre, but the next tier down, they do it for chunks of time, and it just falters at the wrong moments, and they can't sustain it for long periods of time. But listen, there's no shortage of chip on the shoulder at Northridge. I love how they play with that. I know Theo was a product of that when he was a player, and I know he's continuing that trend. Northridge is going to be a handful down the line for somebody. And listen, you said the MIVA is going to be dangerous. The Big West is the exact same. Somebody's going to pick somebody off at the wrong time, and it's going to sting. And there's a lot of teams in both conferences that can do that right now.
I think the preseason poll of 3 teams tied for 4th was indicative of the what the Big West could be like.
Yeah.
Well, just to piggyback on what Jay was talking about, like Andrew Rowan, right? Obviously, they now hold the record, which I found out that CSUN had the set record before that. Did not know that. but they hold the record with Ohio State, right? 48-46 set. Just an example of a team that doesn't bleed points. Andrew Rowan and that UCLA group, they might lose a point. They're not losing the next point. And the way you fend off continual match points or set points over and over and over again, it's no coincidence that they were in that spot, because watching them, in live time, they make a mistake. They don't make it again. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And speaking of setters, obviously Doffner's taken over the reins for Constable for you, Theo. And I mean, even just looking at those last 3 matches, you guys are still hitting over 300 against 3 real good teams that are pretty good blockers. So, as we look into Big West play, that's something that we've been tracking, is what is the offense looking like for Northridge here throughout this year. So it's there's definitely some promising. I think the connection between Doffner and Jalen Phillips continues to improve and get better too, which is not great for the fellow Big West teams.
And it's beneficial that you guys don't start conference play until April 14th, which is off. You guys will be all tuned up, ready to go by then.
tuned up or beat up and done with. One of the two. Do you know what I
mean? All right. Anything else for Coach Theo Edwards of Cal State Northridge? No? Shall we move on? That brings the rest of the top 20. We're going to start at the 13th ranked Lindenwood Lions, who they're the hot team last week, but are they still hot this week after defeating PFW in their first match of the week, then losing to Ball State or number 9 Ball State in their second match of the week? But wanted to get your thoughts on Lindenwood and the direction they're going. Who wants to jump in?
Direction's
Lindenwood's in a great spot. They got a great group, but I think understanding, I think one of the toughest places to play in is Ball State. If you haven't been there before and you go there, it's to me, it's a tough place to go get a road conference match, and tougher than a lot of the other ones. And they took a game off them and they battled. And so I think Lindenwood's in a great spot, and they beat Purdue Fort Wayne, who's probably nobody's paying attention to, but Logan Muir just had 32 kills against McKendree. So certainly he'll be somebody's player probably, but I think Lindenwood's in a great spot playing some high-level volleyball, and they'll be a workhorse throughout the season. So
yeah, Lindenwood is still a hot team, but they're not hot because nobody knew anything about them. They just had a couple of good wins against some bigger programs, and they played a tough Ball State. You can't be upset with a loss against a good team. It's like UCLA and Long Beach. Is Long Beach now not a hot team because they lost to UCLA? No, it's 2 good teams. And same thing with Lindenwood and Ball State. They're 2 good teams. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And it makes for good volleyball, and it makes it fun for the fans to now be able to watch a match and know that it's not going to be a complete blowout just because you don't maybe recognize the name of one of the teams. And so I'm super stoked to watch stuff like that.
Yep. Anyone else?
Yeah, Ball State did a good job of slowing down Brendan Luthane, aka Tendy. Did a great job on him, and it seemed like watching the pieces I saw, it seemed like that was kind of the key, is they wanted to slow him down and let the other pins go to work and let the middles go to work a little bit more.
Yeah, Will Basile, also from Ball State, should be commended. The kid had 13 kills at 417. Against Lindenwood, and then against McKendree had 12 kills at 308, had 25 kills and hit 360 on the weekend. That's pretty good for the kid.
Hey, on the Lindenwood match, because I don't have the box score in front of me, how many missed serves did they have?
Don't know.
27% error.
Yeah, I think that's the thing you got to. So Lindenwood's a deadly from the service line, and even more deadly when they're at home. So I think a big thing for Lindenwood going in the future is, can they bring the same pressure they bring at home when they get on the road? Because if they can do that, they're going to be tough. And I think that's a big piece for them.
And no aces within that as well, which is where they've scored a lot of points this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to talk about, Dan. The serving was just not what we've been used to seeing from them. And again, there's 2 pieces to this, right? One, we're talking about, is Lindenwood still hot? But how hot is Ball State? I mean, that team is playing some serious ball right now. And just looking at the box score, and obviously Luthane, he's definitely the key to that offense. and they did a great job slowing him down. But I think the less talked about guy, and I think we've mentioned him here on the podcast, has been Whiteside, and just how consistent he has been. And for him to hit 053, I mean, obviously Ball State did a really nice job. The other thing is Ball State only had 3% attack error on the match. So
Wow.
not only did they serve tough, not only did they hit 421 as a team, but I mean, they made no mistakes. I mean, they were damn near flawless. And so, I mean, that team is playing some really, really great ball. I mean, Ball State, we'll see where they rise to in the rankings. I think they were number 9 this past week.
Yep.
I think it's going to be real interesting. That team is really, really effective.
Well, you bring up a good point because, although they only had one match this week, but even coming into this week, some of the names that have not shown up as often, but they've been near the top of leading him in, statistically, is Patrick Rogers. Can't help but talk about him because he is on the AVCA All-American Player of the Year watch list. But Ryan Lewis, Will Basilio, and setter Lucas Machado have dialed up their play. Lucas Machado, one of the most aggressive setters offensively. And what I mean, he likes to terminate the ball himself. And I believe went six kills, 0 errors one night this week, or within the last few weeks. And then Basilio has really turned up the level. We actually talked about Ryan Lewis after the first point because he is so impressive going into that week in Phoenix. But is Ball State turning it up along with Patrick Rogers in your guys' view?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know. It's tough to say right now kind of where that team ends up. But they have all the pieces. They have all the pieces in the making of being a really, really great team. And I mean, sure does look like it, Rob.
Well, I was going to say,
right?
just so you get this is on NCAA.com, the stat stuff, like Ball State's 3rd in the country in hitting percentage. I mean, they're hitting 394 on this as of February 13th. So volumetrics is a little different, but they're always a little lower on all their things. But I just think UCLA's number 1, Hawaii's number 2, Ball State's number 3, Pepperdine's number 4. So, hey, CSUN, baby, you're number 7, just so you know, you're on there. You know what I mean? And so,
I think the other thing to keep in mind is a lot of these teams, the wheel, if you will, is already pretty smooth and round, right? Like UCLA, Long Beach, Hawaii, they've got pretty good wheels, and there's not a lot of room for improvement. They're already pretty close, if you will, to where their ceiling is. It doesn't mean that they can't improve more, but you're not going to see a market difference. Like you just mentioned, Ball State's at 394 on the year. Are they going to get to 450? Probably not. Maybe they can aspire to get to 405, 410. That'd be really gnarly to get to that level, but there's not that much room for improvement. And I think that's where you see a lot of the other teams, the 15 ranks and below, you see them start to improve over the course of the year, and there's these jumps, right? It's like you start out the year hitting, 200, and all of a sudden by the end of the year, you're hitting 320. That's a huge jump. And it's because you're getting kids that are getting more experience and they're getting older, more mature, and figuring it out. So it's just a matter of time before you start to see some of these teams where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe 2 years ago, Lindenwood was not a team we're talking about, but over time he built that team up, and now they're a team to be contended with. Same thing with Ball State, same thing with everybody else.
Yep.
I mean, something that like Lindenwood we talk about stats, they're 2nd in the country at the Aces at 2.62. So just, I mean, certainly, we'll talk about teams as the year goes on and who are stronger and what's, BYU typically leads the country in blocking, and they currently do right now. You know what I mean? So, but, pivoting to Ball State, I think, certainly Mike is an alumni. He's done a nice job in his first year of taking his pieces, and he was there recruiting those pieces and getting them to play great. They'll have a good test coming up this week. I think they play Ohio State on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be a good test, and we'll see if Shane's back on the court for Ohio State. So,
well, I definitely got to drop the coaches challenge statistic. I guess Birch was 5-1 the week before, but Iandolo 5-0 this week. So, we got to start tracking that somewhere on NCAA.com on the stats. Coaches challenge success rate. Because I think, is it Dan? You lost out on a few in previous weeks.
Yeah, I don't know, Rob. I'm not keeping track. I'm sorry. No idea. I can tell you a game ended and we didn't get a point against San Diego. How about that? It still says 24-24, I think. You know what I mean? And so,
Well, let's move.
There's also some strategy that goes into those challenges, Rob. Some of them are not for right or wrong, and that is absolutely something we could talk about at some point.
Hey, did you see that the FIVB came out with the rules that they're going to test for VNL and everything? One of them is liberos serving, liberos being able to set with their hands from anywhere, so in front of the 10-foot line.
Ooh.
Which honestly is fine. I don't know why it's not like that anyway. There was a couple others. I was trying to remember.
No back-to-back challenges, I think, was in there too.
There's some stuff about challenging, about you can't challenge for a timeout. But they have such great technology. A lot of times you don't need to challenge some things that we're challenging that are BS. You know what I mean? And so it's like, so they're not going to let you get away with some of that. So, but there are a couple other things that they were testing. Nothing said about throwing. You know what I mean? They're still looking at that, but no actual rules.
There are no throws. That's
let
why
them throw. Let them jump. Let it get ugly.
Oh God! Stop the madness. I wish they would. Somebody mentioned on Volley Talk. I wish they would eliminate one of the timeouts per set, especially if you have a 15-point media timeout. I mean, it's getting to the point now where the game has slowed down so much, and it's like, I get it. There's starts and stops. There needs to be a timeout here and there. There needs to be a challenge. But my God, there's some where you're just like, geez, Louise, let's move on. You know, the game is already, we need to pick it up.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's move on up. We've already covered Ball State, but this was kind of the match that, if you notice, I left blank because it's a late result on Sunday. And Ohio State heads on down to Charlotte, North Carolina, to a place called Queens University. And Queens University, probably their first ranked win in program history, I believe, because I tried to find it on their release and it wasn't out when I was doing my research. But,
I think they had
Jay's former assistant.
I think a few years ago they had a win.
I think it's their highest ranked win.
Yeah.
I congratulated Roger last night afterwards with a text message and just said, "Hey, great win, coach. It's a good signature win for your year." The fact remains is the night before, they lose. And so what adjustments did they make? I didn't see Wetzel on the second night, so I'm not sure if he was resting or if there was an injury. I don't know. I'm not claiming anything. But the rest of their players, they scrapped and fought. And sure enough, Casey Moss, kid had 22 kills at 405 and was a little spark plug in that fifth game, a little moxie through the net, a little chirping here and there. You need that sometimes, you need to knock the bully down a little bit. And I know Birch's team is obviously a very good team and they know how to play the game, but sometimes when you run up against a little guy and you think you can just manhandle your way through it, and the little guy finds a little way to get you a little bit here and a little bit there. Next thing you know, you're back against the ropes and they just keep going. And so hats off to Roger and his crew. I know that that's not the last win they're going to get against a good team. Roger's going to build that program up, and just super stoked for them to do it at home in front of their fans.
Yeah.
Big win for Roger and Queens for sure. And that fifth set was really interesting because it was back and forth. Ohio State takes the lead, then Queens ties it up, and then
they were up by 8, weren't they? 7, right?
No, I think it was 12-8 or 11-7, something in that range.
Oh, I gotta go back and look. I think they were up by. I gotta go back and look now. So.
But yeah, and then especially they're coming back. The Chance Champagne made some big plays at the net. And then even I think there was a stretch, I forget if Ohio State was in rotation 2 or 3, but they set 3 or 4 straight balls back to Hurley, who was playing on the right in Wetzel's absence. And Champagne gets a block on one. Britton Skousen, the pizza guy, gets a dig on one. And then air, and it gets all knotted up pretty quickly. And yeah, it was it was just so interesting to see, because then you see at the end, Chikinski gets blocked, and then Ohio State goes back and forth, and a few service errors late on some set points for Ohio State, and boom, the door's open for Queens to sneak out of there. But I thought that fifth set was controlled for the most part, apart from that stretch of 3 or 4 points by Champagne against Hurley.
Yep. It was interesting because I was looking at the box from Friday night's match, and Shane Wetzel of Ohio State only played in 2 sets, and obviously didn't play in yesterday's match. But I definitely want to give a shout out to Chance at Champaign, which I do believe he had a brother that played at Penn State. Jay, um,
Did
my timeline's all messed up, but fit, incredible and charismatic family. Love the game of volleyball. Huge supporters of the men's game for obvious reasons, but just super promoting all the show. So I'm going to give, who I'm calling out on there. You've been messaging me, but appreciate all the support you have for the program. But Chance has always been one of the leaders on that Queens team. He's not been the top stat. He has been, but he's always right there in the top, taking leadership of that team. So a great weekend, a split for Queens against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was 11-6, Brad, in that fifth. That's why I was just like, Ohio State has kind of in the driver's seat. And so kudos to Queens, just in the terms of like head down, like Jay said, and just keep getting after it. And so, but you go look at the box score, like we've talked about this with other matches, you can't have 20 plus serving errors on the road in a conference game and not open the door. Like, and I thought what Queens did is they took advantage of it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, hey, if you're going to make this many errors on us, we're gonna get after it on you, and they did a great job of that. So just telling my team when we go down to Queens this weekend that we can't make that many errors, or we're gonna open the door for these guys. And so, yeah, compliment to Roger and what he's doing down there, and he's got a talented group that's playing hard for sure. So,
yep.
Yeah,
Anything else on? Go for it.
Yeah, I just would. The only thing I'd mention to Roger, I mean, they're obviously doing a fantastic job, is just get the score sheet up a little bit sooner so that volumetrics can be broken down before our podcast. Thank you, appreciate it.
I already called him too, just so you know. So like, I think he's texted me. I like, hey, I want to watch this match, And so like,
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it because it wasn't broken down and no stats. I'm like, man, this is a great one to talk about.
That's right. And being that I was in Charlotte, North Carolina this last Christmas, I want to say, hey, volleyball community in Charlotte, got good teams coming in. Go watch some good men's Division I, II volleyball play down there. And you can say hi to Dan this weekend if you catch him. Just say, hey, here's your hashtag suck it 28 errors serving, bro. Let's move on to number 7, BYU. Cougars on the pounce. They beat Merrimack on Monday, and then they bust up a former Theophyte. No, he wasn't a Theophyte, a former Matador in Ali'i Keohohu with 2 wins over Menlo College. But what I wanted to bring up was emergence of Trevor Herget. It was Talon Jonathan Tafunga who'd been leading the stats, and Trent Moser here and there. But this last week, Herget, well, actually, I should say Trevor, because there's another brother on the team, that really stepped it up. I want to get your thoughts on BYU, number 7 BYU.
all these matches at home.
Yes.
That's why. There's my thoughts.
There you go.
BYU's at home. It's like
Yeah.
Hawaii. And I don't know. There's no slam against BYU. Obviously, they play good teams, but it's at home. And I would suffice to say against those teams maybe this year, but it's on the road, it would still be 3-0 for the week for them. But when I start to see BYU playing against bigger teams and seeing how they do, then I'll have a comment.
All right.
Yeah, Trevor Hergert's got a pretty gnarly arm. He hits the piss out of the ball. We saw him as a serving sub when we were out there, and he's pretty dynamic. And obviously some depth there as they have Mosier and Tafuga also on the left. Not to mention Oldani, who was the left side last year for Grand Canyon. That's now on the right for him.
There you go. The extension of the GCU campus or BYU campus, whatever, back and forth. Anything else to add on number 9 BYU?
Well, I thought what was interesting is
7
with obviously the 2 wins that they had gotten earlier in the year over Santa Barbara. In those matches, Tafuga hit collectively 0-26. They still get a 3-set sweep, and obviously relied on Mosier and some of the other guys. And then fast forward to this Menlo week, and Tafuga again hits only 182, and they still find a way to win. So I think there's a lot of balance here, and obviously, Herget is a big part of that. But they've got a lot of firepower. I think Jay hit it on the head. You look at the win percentage of that team when they're at home, it is a lot higher than most universities. The atmosphere is awesome for men's volleyball. I think that's why a lot of teams are pulled to go and want to compete there. But they got a whole force behind them, and it helps them keep the momentum and keep the streak alive. And so, be interesting to see as they get into the MPSF play and start traveling around to some of these top teams, how they perform in some of those situations.
Yeah. Anything else? Number 7, BYU. We move on. Are the Waves picking up in Malibu? Because the Pepperdine Waves come in at number 6, the sweep versus Vanguard, and a 5-setter against the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara. Jump in, boys.
First of all, Cole Harkey, 23 kills, 425. That's pretty good. And I don't know if anybody watched it or not, but in the first serve or first play of the 5th set, Santa Barbara had a kid hit a big, and it was in, clearly in by a foot. And they challenged it, and somehow it didn't go Santa Barbara's way. And by no means do I think that's the reason why they lost. They got beat pretty bad, 15-5. But, you scored the first point, maybe you got a little bit of momentum that can help you out. But, Pepperdine is obviously very, very talented. And they're going to be one of the teams in the MPSF that is in the hunt for not only the AQ, but for an at-large. So I think their engine right now is humming pretty well. And Bruning hit 243 in that match. And again, I said it before, and I'll say it again, Santa Barbara is going to go the way that Bruning goes. And if Bruning is pedestrian, and 243 is not awful, but if he is not having a phenomenal night, the rest of that team's got to pick up the slack. And I think they had a kid on the other side that didn't necessarily get it done. So, kudos to Pepperdine for sticking it out. They're going back up to Santa Barbara this week, which would be fun to watch, see if there's any adjustments made. But, yeah, Pepperdine's going to be good.
Yeah.
Jay, that ball was way in. It hit the free throw line. Yeah. It was inside the free throw line. That was interesting. And I couldn't tell on the challenge if maybe they tried to challenge it
and somehow it didn't get overturned. I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah, no clue. And I think on the Pepperdine side of things, obviously Hartke continues to play really, really well. And then Ryan Barnett's doing a pretty good job too, staying steady along them. And we've seen, a mixture of outside hitters all around that. So I think that's kind of that one piece is who's going to be that third pin for Pepperdine when it comes down to it and when they get in the thick of MPSF play.
I think Grant might be hurt a little bit too. I know Gomez was in, but Grant was battling some injury stuff, I think. So,
yeah, I think if you look at the passing numbers, though, Gomez has had a big impact there and has really helped them, I think, be a little bit more in system. I think against Santa Barbara, he passed like a 2-1-4, where Grant has kind of struggled in that space a little bit. And so I think they made that switch against us for the first time, and it helped them find some rhythm. But Cole Harkey, man, that guy's the real deal, and he's starting to really come to form in terms of looking like he is that next level type of player. And so I think they're as long as he's going to roll like that, hit 450, that team's going to be in every match possible. So they're doing some nice things.
Yeah. Well, we're talking a little bit about UC Santa Barbara. They were knocking on the door, going that 5th set, but in the end, Hartke was just too much. He dialed it in, and that's why he's the AVCA Player of the Year candidate.
I don't know if losing 5-15 is knocking on the door, Rob. I think they might have stayed in the car in the driveway, didn't bother to get out. But regardless, they go 5 with a good team.
Jay, are you doing some cleansing thing on the TV right now? Because we're drinking this green goo right in front.
I'm looking for a little NIL sponsorship, a little Bolt House Farms, a little green goodness. You don't get this body by Adonis by eating salads all day, Dan. I gotta supplement in other ways. So
I figured your body was by margaritas and tacos and Cabo.
Well, this is help cleansing that out. One cannot live on margaritas and tacos alone. Although you can give it a try.
Hey, you guys are awesome. I'm going to pick my 2 players, and I got to go. Ryan Lewis from Ball State and Logan Muir from Purdue Fort Wayne, a couple of MIVA guys. I think Logan had 39 points, 32 kills, and a big win against McKendree in 5. And we'd already talked about Ryan a little bit, but he's kind of steady Eddie, doing some great things for that program and kind of emerging this year. And so, but those are my 2 guys. Best of luck. Look forward to seeing you guys next Monday. Okay. All right.
All right,
All
Dan,
right, Dan.
thanks for jumping on,
Yeah.
and good luck to your Flyers.
Thanks.
All right. Anything else to add about the Pepperdine Waves or the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara? Nope. We move on. Number 4, USC versus UCI, the series that was not watched because it was not streamed unless you were in the Brent Event Center. But they did do Friday night's match at Galen. So is a split of the series. Night 1, you had the 5-set win, a reverse sweep by USC. And then on Friday night, it was a 3-1 win for UC Irvine. So thoughts on the matchup, boys?
I like the fact that both teams won on the road. I think that says something about the heart of the team that is on the road. They like being in a little hostile environment. But I think the two players to mention are on the first night, Dylan Klein had 24 kills at 320. But on the second night, Darcy had 21 kills at 364. I don't know, and Rob, maybe you know why Darcy is not playing more often. Kid is tall and can hit pretty well. Not sure what's going on, but regardless, UCI is obviously having a great year, so I can't tell them what to do. They're winning things, but that the fact remains is playing on the road. Some teams kind of cower down a little bit when you get into a little bit of a hostile environment. The crowd starts chirping at you a little bit. If you're not used to that environment, it can kind of get a little bit overwhelming. Some teams thrive on it. Some teams absolutely love being in opposing gyms, and both those teams seem to do well under that pressure. So kudos to them.
Yeah. Well, in response to you, Jay, at the beginning of the year, I think NIF's original plan was to go with a 6-2, but the loss of Aiden Rigg at setter really meant he had to shuffle up the lineup. So that's definitely made some lineup changes. Well, there hasn't really been a solid lineup until probably the last 2 weeks. So that's why Darcy
Don't be surprised if NIF puts him in the middle for a couple of matches, just because.
All right. Theo or Brad?
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating, these two teams and kind of the way they matched up. But obviously, the adjustments made by Irvine in night 2 were huge. And offensively, what's really interesting is Irvine wins in 4 on night 2, and USC out hit them by 60 points. And
Yep.
So sometimes it's not about how great you are. It's about winning the right points and being great at the right moments. I think the interesting story for Irvine right now is Costi. I think he's doing some really, really phenomenal things. And to lose a guy like Rigg and still be competing at a really elite level, it just shows where Costi's at. And obviously an incredibly young guy. And we talked about the struggles that some of the young athletes can go through. Costi is risen to that moment. It's almost as if he was born and raised in the environment. Crazy.
Weird.
Yeah, well, Houlihan had some video on his Instagram, and apparently they created some dollar bills that say "In Costi we trust," but it was John Costi's head. It should have been Cameron Costi's.
Yeah.
Brad, anything to add?
Yeah, I think the big difference to me was Kiriakou. Night 2 played great. Night 1 just struggled a little bit more. I think that's going to be the X factor there. And I thought in the matchup, that was the big difference on that side of things for Irvine. And I think overall, Irvine just was a little cleaner in first contact. They served in at 88% night 2. So that's a lot of balls that USC has to pass, set, and hit, and terminate consistently. And they did a pretty good job of it with the hitting efficiency that Theo alluded to. But that difference can add up and kind of can really help win a set or 2 as things get tighter and tighter down the road.
Yeah. Well, the off-match information that just in my chats I had with some of the players and the coaching staffs going into this week's matchups, there's a flu bug going around on both teams. So that's why we didn't see certain athletes. And there are people who are actually hospitalized just days before the match that were cleared to play, but they definitely weren't 100%. there's injuries like, for instance, Trevor Clark of Irvine sprained his ankle in warmups the week before, so we don't know when he'll be back. And then on night 2 for USC, you can see Coach Jeff Nygaard mixing up his lineup. Like he started Brad Penn at libero instead of Johnny Dykstra. Then you saw some new middles, Tyler Robinson, who had a phenomenal night, 10 kills, 0 errors, hit 833. What a debut start for him. But in the end, you ride your you bring your big horses to the Kentucky Derby, and Dylan Klein every night double over 20 kills each night. And I'm telling you, he's making a huge case for player of the year because in the clutch, everywhere you set him, he's putting that ball away. It seems like.
And where he's really evolving is in serve receive, where he was never like a bad passer. He was always just like a good to medium passer, but he's becoming a pretty strong passer with his platform. So I think that's obviously helps him, but it also helps the rest of the team and helps the offense.
Imagine what he's going to look like after a few years with the national team, should he choose to go that way. The kid's already physically gifted. Be interesting to see how well this passing can hold up at that next level and how much better he'll get. And man, what a dangerous weapon the U.S. will have when that happens.
Yeah, that's if he doesn't take the multi-million-dollar investing job he's going to have available to him after he graduates from USC.
Maybe. And listen, it's not a requirement. He doesn't have to. Did he choose to go that way? He's got a promising career.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. He's one of the good guys on the court. I love seeing play and just chat with, wherever I see him at. So let's move on up. Number 3, Hawaii, 2-0 sweep of the in Costi we trust, but the John Costis, Kainoa Wade really bringing his A game in the absence of Christian Tetrisky out of the right side. And of course, he can't avoid the French delegation, Adrian Rohr and Louis Sakanoko. But talk to me. Oh, and hot off the press, Tread Rosenthal grew another inch. He's now 7 foot, just in case you guys are wondering.
How do you spell taking the starting spot any better than what Kainoa Wade is doing? The kid had combined for the weekend 27 kills and hit 650. Hey, Tetrisky, the kid's gunning for your spot if he hasn't already earned it. Playing against good teams. That's listen. I know all the coaches on this panel wish we had that kind of an issue, that challenge in our gym. You got 2 guys that are really, really good. And which one do you play? And you got to pick one of them. And right now, Kainoa Wade's getting it done. So kudos to the kid and taking both matches in 3 at Stanford. That's pretty good. But you look at Moses Wagner and Alex Rotman, and both of them on the second night hit negative. And when you could slow those 2 guys down a little bit, your case for winning a match get a lot easier. So kudos on Hawaii for being able to slow their 2 big players down and be able to put the pressure on everybody else. And unfortunately, Stanford couldn't get it done. So, Hawaii, good wins on the road. We talk about it with them and BYU being good home teams on the road against a very good Stanford team with 2 3-0 sweeps. Good week for the old Hawaiian Rainbows.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty dominant by Hawaii. Just impressive, really, in every facet of the game, and played really well, really consistently, and almost little to no lulls through it, and it shows in those set scores as well. And I found it really interesting. The adjustment for night 2 for Stanford was they moved Moses Wagner into the middle, and they had him playing in the middle, and they brought in I don't know his first name, but their international
Eric Ask.
Yeah, perfect. So they brought him in, and he ended up getting about 20 swings on the night as well, and struggled a little bit in serve receive. But I think just over time, the pressure of the whole, stop me if you've heard this before, but the pressure of Hawaii's consistent serving broke down the passing of an opponent. So I think credit to Hawaii playing well and doing it on the road and silencing Jay as the Hawaii can't play on the road hater.
I never said they can't play on the road. I just say that their record shows at home they're better. There's a difference, Brad. Quit trying to throw words into my mouth and make me look like a Hawaii hater. I am not a Hawaii hater.
Those Hawaiian
That's
fans
right.
will come after you, Jay, if you start
They
getting
already
known for
have.
that.
They already have. I know all about it, but I've never said anything bad about
Sorry, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Jay loves a Hawaii fan, especially when he hosts the national championships
Yeah.
because they filled that huge arena.
Dude, and they love good volleyball, and I love going to Hawaii, and I love surfing on the North Shore. I love all that stuff. So no hate mail for me. I love Hawaii volleyball. Always have.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I'll add just a little bit more to this match. These guys already hinted at most of it, but this was a dominant performance out of Hawaii. I think the thing that I thought was most interesting is the Canadian libero for Hawaii, Greenwich. He did a tremendous job and took a lot of the pressure. So one of Hawaii's issues, especially with Sakanoko in the lineup, has been his passing, right? And he still in this match, or in these two matches, did not pass great in the grand scheme of things, but the libero really, really took a lot of pressure off of him and was able to keep these guys in system a ton, which obviously allowed them. They hit 460 on the weekend in comparison to Stanford's 148. So, I mean, just an absolute dominant performance. And for Kanoa Wade, it's one thing. We all know how good and how talented he is, but to do it on back-to-back nights in the fashion that he did, night one, he has 17 attempts, hit 588, and then on night two has 20 attempts and hit 600. There's very few people around the league, around the country that can do that, and really doing it on back-to-back nights is pretty incredible. So shout out to Kanoa Wade. It's almost as if he was born into this environment.
That's so weird. That's so weird, Theo, how that works out.
And even on Theo's Greenwich point, I thought he did a really good job defensively too with Stanford, especially out of system. They like to jam and swipe, and whether it was Wagner night one or Snooey night two, those jams down the line or swipes down the line, they usually have a lot of success. He picked up 3 or 4 of those early, and Stanford had to go away from that.
yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Like he was born in the family. Gosh, you get that theme this week. But it has to be pretty exciting though for the dads to see their boys doing well. And I'm referring to John Cossey and Cameron Cossey and Charlie Wade and Kanoa Wade. So, but I totally forgot that stat line. Night 2, Kanoa Wade, 15 kills, 1 error, 737, and ace, 17 points in the 3-set match. Amazing.
He's got a cannon for an arm. He's doing well.
Shocking, man.
So that brings the top 2 teams. Long Beach State, 1 match of the week. They beat Vanguard 3-0. And then we're going to let Theo talk about his number 1 matchup. But let's touch on Long Beach State. Alex Kondev leading the way for the Beach in their lone match against the Battle of the 405 Freeway again, because Vanguard just right off 55, a little quick turn, and you're 405 North over to Palisades, and you're over to the Pyramids. So thoughts on Long Beach State, Vanguard?
Well, the trip up from Vanguard to Long Beach State, at one point on the 405, there is 17 lanes that you can drive on. And everybody who knows that Seal Beach stretch of what I'm talking about, you have 17 lanes you can choose from. So that part of the trip's fairly easy. Like I love what Vanguard's trying to do, but Long Beach is just Long Beach, and it's a tough hoe for anybody to go up there and try to get a victory in the Pyramid. But Rofer's going to build that program up. If he stays around for a long period of time, which I hope he does, that program is going to be an absolute handful in the coming years. He's going to bring in some great recruits, and he's going to build that program up. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, Vanguard's got a pretty massive lineup where they have I think they have like a 6'9" outside hitter in there, another 6'8" opposite. And with that size, generally speaking, there's some struggles in serve receive, and I thought Long Beach exploited that, where they had aces 17% of the time, and then add in another 9% of overpasses, and basically 1 out of every 4 serves of Long Beach was either an ace or an overpass. And that's a credit to Long Beach putting some pressure from the end line, as they're, if not the top serving team, they're definitely in the top 3 or 4 over the course of the year. So I thought that kind of sums up the match pretty quickly there.
Well, you are right. They are the top serving team in the nation, averaging 2.81 aces per set. Next closest is Lindenwood Actually, that lead was a lot bigger, but Lindenwood's 2.62. So I saw a larger margin going into this week, but yeah, I guess they kind of went down on their productivity. So, Theo, anything to add on the Long Beach Vanguard series?
No, I thought Vanguard did a decent job of slowing them down. I think Long Beach, on the night only hit about 250 or 260, which is, for them, I think a little on the pedestrian side. But I mean, we know who Long Beach is. I mean, that's a fantastic group, and yeah, no surprises there for sure.
All right, let's jump. And while you were talking, number one UCLA in my highlight headline, Matta Dunn in 3. It's not a knock on. I mean, the UCLA team is good, but go ahead and talk about that matchup.
Yeah, I thought it was, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I thought UCLA did a really nice job. I thought from the service line, when they were consistent, they made it really tough on us. There were moments where, this year, at least for them, where I thought Decker was kind of finding his way. I thought he really figured it out against us. I think he hit close to 500. 529, I think, on the night, and was really good, really talented. We know, obviously, Rama, we know Kelly, and I think those guys have been kind of holding it down. And Decker, similar to what, obviously getting the chance to interview John to start this thing, right? He was talking about his arm and just his experience, right? He's a very steady volleyball player for them. And I thought he did a really nice job. I thought we did a pretty nice job against their middles. Wong Diallo, what's his name? Micah Wong Diallo. He had been out of the lineup. I think he had a concussion a week or two before this, and he got back in and did some really, really nice things. He kind of had a slow start. I think we blocked him a couple times in the early sets, and then he kind of found his way later on in the match. But we were able to slow down Cam Thorne. I think if you watched our match last year, they came to the Matadome or the Premier America Credit Union Arena is the way you were supposed to call it. But he came to our gym last year. I think he had like 18 kills, no errors, and was just absolutely electric. Our guys remembered that, and we took it personal. And I think we did a nice job of at least slowing him down a little bit, held him to 300. And then obviously held Rama to 077. So I think we did some nice things against that team. But that team is number one for a reason. And they're incredibly resilient. They do not give up runs easily. They make mistakes from time to time, but they get right back on the train. And it was a great lesson for us. That team is a top team for a reason.
Yeah,
all right.
Sean Kelly continues to develop and progress, and yeah, especially in serve receive, he was pretty lights out, passing the ball, which goes a long way, especially within that offense. Then you add in Chris Connolly defensively, flying all over the court, making some really good plays. And then I think the one note and the one adjustment that maybe Hawks was alluding to is with Michael Wong Diallo being back and him not playing in the last Long Beach matchup. I think that will be a little bit different, having his physical presence and how high he can play above the net as an attacker and as a blocker this week for the UCLA Long Beach matchup.
Yeah,
I won't pile on. Already what's been said is spot on, but I will say this: it will always be the Matadome to us old guys, especially that kept getting Nordoff. But with all due respect, I love the alumni at Northridge are great guys. I'm friends with a bunch of them, and yeah, the Matadome forever.
all right. With that, oh, you froze, Jay. I thought you had something else to say there. You good?
Am I frozen now?
You're good.
Frozen?
You're good.
Okay.
Frozen, not from the weather and the atmospheric. Throwing down some 80s moves. I love it. With that, let's pick our players of the week. We'll go with Brad in silence. And there's wait, I need this mention. Theo, I think we need to make it a rule. If someone gets a drink out of the fridge, they got to say hi. They got to poke their head in.
Oh, okay. Come here. Come say hi. Yeah, come over here.
Is it Float Serve Jesus?
It is not. It is my daughter, Rain. It is President's Day. No school. So
get her off the screen. She's too beautiful. You got to get her off. No one can see it.
Rain is here, and we're working on some volleyball terminology for her, getting her set up. After watching Kainoa Wade and Costi, it's time to breed into the future.
Have you taught her the word
just
chowder?
I'm going to say this right out of the gate. In about 10 years, I'm going to say it's weird how she just kind of grew up in the gym like that. I don't understand that. So throwing that out right now.
Someone's at the door there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead and go.
nice to meet you. So you got another drink taker coming in? Is that the deal?
Probably. Oh. No, it's actually Mike Aroni, one of our assistant coaches, is here and just came into the office.
New rules.
We got practice here shortly, so we got to get this thing.
Got to wrap it up, huh?
We got to get this thing rolling.
All right. So, Brad, player of the week.
Will Darcy, 17 kills, 2 aces, night 1, and then 21 kills, 2 aces, night 2 for UC Irvine.
All right. Jay.
I got 2. Kainoa Wade, 27 kills at 650 on the weekend. Second one, Casey Moss.
Took mine.
Casey Moss from Queens, 22 kills, hit 405 against Ohio State in a big win for the old Charlotte Queens University.
Jay, I thought this week we were leaving Costi and Wade for Theo here, based on how he was talking through those previews.
That's where I was headed.
Better find a new one there, Theo. Better scroll through.
We're trying to buy you time here, Theo. Let's go.
All right. Well, I'm definitely gonna pick Costi, who obviously in that turnaround win over SC was instrumental. And I think in addition to his setting, he hit 375 at the net. So great work by him. And then the other guy that I have to throw in there is Decker, who I thought did a tremendous job against us. Hit 647, 12 kills on 17 swings. Nice job by Decker.
I'm going to check one in for myself. I can't ignore Dylan Klein's performance because seeing him play, even though it was, well, that's right, there's no stream on night 1, but someone posted a good portion of the match online from their home phone, and amazing stuff that he was doing. And on night 2, his backpack was only so big, but he was still doing some amazing things. And again, player of the year candidate for sure, and well earned, and it's well deserved if he does get it. So with that, what you watching in week 8? How crazy? Halfway point.
Wow.
Feel free to jump in.
First.
Well, I think we talked about that Ohio State matchup, right? Ohio State's playing against
Ball State.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be definitely one to watch, especially after Ohio State is Wetzel back in the mix. And after that loss to Queens, be really interesting to see how they bounce back. And then obviously the easy one is UCLA and Long Beach. I think that's obviously a tale of 2 top teams, and they went 5 last time on the reverse sweep. Let's see what happens with Micah back in the lineup for UCLA.
All right. Good choices.
You got it, Jay.
Jake.
I'll leave the easy ones for Brad. I'm going to pick 3 that are not. 1, I want to see what PFW does against Ohio State. PFW is having a little bit of a moment here. They're figuring some things out. Let's see if they can maybe take one away from Ohio State that might be licking their wounds a little bit after this weekend. Next one, obviously, I want to see Lewis at Queens. I want to see what Dan's team is going to do when they get down there, because Queens is riding a high right now. That'll be fun. But here's the one that's going to be interesting. Sponsored by Rincon Surf Spot, one of my favorites in NorCal when I get a chance to go up there. Lincoln Memorial at Santa Barbara. And here's why. Lincoln Memorial's got a massive chip on their shoulder. They're going into a place where Santa Barbara, if you're not paying attention and you're not careful, could go down to a Lincoln Memorial.
All right. I think I'll check a couple here in this. Brad, you want to throw another one in there?
Yeah, we got LMU Santa Barbara was one of the great ones. That's a great call by Jay. Fort Valley going out to BYU. That'll be an interesting one to see Fort Valley competing with BYU. And then we got Lewis Queens. And then Stanford coming down to Concordia. That'll be an interesting series. And with just seeing Concordia firsthand and seeing some of the things coming together for them, I think it'll be interesting. Both teams coming off 2 losses. seeing how they each respond. I think that'll be one that'll be fun to check in on the scores and see how it goes.
No one mentioned McKendree at Lindenwood.
McKendree Lindenwood. Yep. McKendree Lindenwood. That's the one we missed. That's going to be a good one for sure.
And
Didn't
then
they just play too?
A couple weeks ago.
And of course, I got to throw Jay's team in there because EIVA conference play is getting interesting. You're hosting NJIT or NJIT.
We're going to
NJIT.
NJIT. And that's Kevin Barnett's favorite team, the Highlanders of NJIT, by the way, just so you know.
Because there can only be one.
NJIT just came off of some nice wins, right?
Yeah, they just beat Harvard, and they've got a good player. The opposite is a good player who is a sophomore, 6'10", from Poland, I believe. And yeah, they're going to be a handful. NJIT is good, especially in their gym. So it'll be a handful this week.
They're on an 8-game win streak right now, huh?
Oh.
Yeah,
that's
Jay's
right.
Got something to say about that.
Well, I'm going to end this episode because we just had Valentine's Day over on Saturday on the weekend. And one of the funniest things that they've been doing on social is describe your dating life in volleyball terminology or related to volleyball. And all of us are married. So it's going to be describe your dating life when you were dating. I'll start so you guys can think of one. All right. So I'm on the bench, 5th set. We're down 13-14. So it's match point for the other side. I get called in to jump serve, and I hit the bottom of the tape. That was my dating life.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. I don't even know where to begin with this thing. So I can't wait to see where these guys go.
Yeah, I think I'll go here. I'll go here. I think there's an open gym, and everyone's going to this open gym. We'll say it's in San Diego, and I show up at the beach, and I'm the only one there.
We're not very successful so far as dating people.
Love it. I'll go. I got one. All my friends went on to play Division I volleyball, and I played Division III volleyball. But I married the Division I Player of the Year type candidate in my wife, so I scored at the end there. But
way to save that one.
All right, Theo, close us out.
All right, I'll do my best here. I was playing middle back as a defender and thought for sure that defensively I could dig all of the balls. Didn't work out so well.
Concussion protocol for Theo.
Well, us sorry lot ended up doing pretty good because we're locked in with some incredible women and families. So with that, let's conclude episode 295 of College Volleyball Weekly. Top 20, men's top 20. That's Brad Rothschatter of UC San Diego, Jay Hosick of George Mason, Theo Edwards of CSUN, and departed from us to go do something important, Dan Fran of Lewis, and special guests, Milan Zarkovic and John Hawks of UCLA. So look forward to seeing you guys next Monday. Best of luck to you this week.
Thanks for listening to College Volleyball Weekly. Be sure to follow Rob Aspero at the Rob on the Mic on Instagram and at Rob on the Mic on Twitter.